Arutperunjothi Arutperunjothi Thanipperum Karunai Arutperunjothi எல்லா உயிர்களும் இன்புற்று வாழ்க. May all sentient beings be in happiness and bliss. வள்ளல் மலரடி வாழ்க வாழ்க. May the divine feet of Vallalar be praised. My dear brothers and sisters, this is an introductory lecture on the philosophy of Ramalinga Vallalar. It's the name of a book. You see it here. It's the name of a book we launched some 3 days before on Thaipusam Day, that is 11/2/2025. This book aims to show to the world that Vallalar was one of the greatest philosophers of all times. Not only that, he was a complete philosopher also. What do I mean by complete philosopher? Karl Jaspers has written an introductory book on philosophy called Way to Wisdom. In it he says there are only 4 great philosophers who could be called complete philosophers. That is, there are about 30 branches of philosophy, and almost all the branches have been treated by these 4 great philosophers, and we could add one more name to them, Saint Ramalinga Vallalar of Tamil Nadu, who were the 4 great philosophers and complete philosophers of the West. From Greece we have Plato and Aristotle. From Germany we have got Immanuel Kant and George Hegel, and Vallalar could be added to the list. In fact, he goes beyond that. For instance, Plato was called Divine Plato. Why? They respected his breadth and depth of his philosophy and wisdom, so the appellation divine was added to his name. Actually, he died. He left behind him his mortal body. He was a mortal only. Only for his wisdom he was called Divine Plato, but it is not the same case with Vallalar. He did not leave behind him his mortal frame. He transformed it into a divine body, and he gives us a complete science of immortality, and in 3 stages. He says it is first this impure body is transformed into a pure body, and the pure body is transformed into an Omkara body or sound body, and finally the Omkara body is transformed into divine body, that is into a body of light of infinite compassion. So he has given us a complete science. Not only that, he actualized his philosophy in his own body. He himself transformed into a divine body. And Vallalar was born in 1823, and he transformed his body on 30th January 1874. Now, is it possible to be alive forever? Is it possible not to die? This question has been raised for millennia. Even the great Aristotle, who was called the philosopher for 2000 years, he voiced his syllogism like this: all men are mortal. Socrates is a man, so Socrates is also a mortal. This is how his first syllogism goes. But Vallalar refutes this. He says, you can't say all men are mortal. Some can escape death. And we have a long list of people who have become immortals. For instance, we have 80 immortals in Tibet, and 8 immortals in China, and 18 immortals in Tamil Nadu, Siddhars. And many Siddhas or immortals are from all over the world who are called alchemists. They have attained this immortal body. So when the first premise is wrong, the whole syllogism goes wrong. So Aristotle was wrong. Vallalar proves this by his logical mind. Not only that, he has given us a complete philosophy and a science of immortality. The whole philosophy of Vallalar could be summed up in just two words. One is immortality, another is absolute compassion, Arul in Tamil. So, these are the two major principles of Vallalar's philosophy. And the strange thing is that for the first time in world history, it says immortality could be had by absolute compassion. See, the Siddhas and alchemists of the West, they taught us immortality through philosopher's stone and the extraction from it, the elixir of life. No, not like that. He says anyone can do that because they don't reveal the exact name or nature of the philosopher's stone. But Vallalar says democratically all human beings are capable of attaining divinity, immortality and divinity by practicing absolute compassion. And he gives us a complete science of compassion for the first time in world history. For instance, if you perform an act of compassion, what happens? Vallalar Swami says, one drop of ambrosia will secrete in your brain. If you keep on performing these acts of compassion, so much of ambrosia will accumulate in your body, and at a certain level, your body will not have sickness. Your body will not have old age, and it will not die. So, the way to immortality is to make the ambrosia secrete in your body by performing acts of compassion. It's a way of life for him. When you practice compassion as a way of life, starting from morning and ending in night, if you practice this compassion, he says, it will produce nectar or ambrosia in your body. You need not eat anything, you need not drink anything. And at a later stage, when you attain Pranava body, you need not even have oxygen, you need not breathe at all. And at the final stage of divine body or the light of absolute compassion, what happens is that he says, your body will become divine, and the velocity of the light of absolute compassion is billion times more than the light of physical light. What is the velocity of physical light? Per second, it travels about 300,000 kilometers. But Vallalar Swami says, I travelled around the cosmos, not the globe, but the cosmos in half a second. So, what could be the velocity of the light of absolute compassion? A new science of light is given to us by Swami Vallalar, and for the next 500 years, scientists must explore the ideas given to us by Vallalar. See, not only immortality, he says, even divinity is possible. And Vallalar was blessed by God, Arutperunjothi. What is Arutperunjothi? See, it is the Jyoti means light, Perunjothi means infinitely vast light, and Arul means absolute compassion. So, it is the infinitely vast light of absolute compassion. So, it is not a person, it is a force like gravitation, it is a force like electricity, it is a force like atomic energy. In fact, all the four energies that make all actions perform in this world, what are the four? Weak atomic energy, strong atomic energy, and then gravitation, and then electromagnetic force. These are the four powers acting in the world. In fact, in his last 30 years of his life, Albert Einstein wanted to bring them all together, and he thought there should be only one force that breeds all these four powers. But he failed to discover or mention about that one single force. But Vallalar some 150 years before, in 1860s and 70s, was able to pinpoint the name. He said it is Arul. Arul in Tamil means in absolute compassion, total compassion. In the same way, in 1859, Charles Darwin published a book called The Origin of Species, and in 1871 he published another book called Descent of Man. By these two books he established the theory of evolution for the first time in world history. And when a mathematics professor Chauncey Wright from America asked the explanation for the future evolution of mankind, sir, you have proved the past, but what about the future developments or mutations in the human body, asked Chauncey Wright. And in one word, Darwin replied, I don't know, because he couldn't know. But at the same time, in the 1860s, Vallalar Swami was actually transforming his body, his impure physical body, into a pure physical body, and then into a sound body, pranava body, and then into a light of absolute compassion body. This was undergoing. On 30th January 1874, Lord Arutperunjothi entered into his body and transformed his body into Arutperunjothi. The whole thing is given here. And in this book, there are about 35 major headings and 135 chapters. And at the end of the book, I have given the philosophy of enlightenment, mukti. It is revealed in about 300 pages. What is mukti or enlightenment? Mukti is called turiya in Sanskrit. The Mandukya Upanishadic Rishi named it fourth state of consciousness called turiya, and sage scientist Tirumular, the Siddha, he developed it into three turiyas: Jiva Turiya, Paraturiya, Siva Turiya. And Vallalar Swami was blessed by Lord Arutperunjothi, that is Arut Shivam, with two more states of higher consciousness called Sutta Siva Turiyam and Sutta Siva Turiyadidam. And all these and Vallalar Swami explains all these experiences of Sutta Siva Turiyam and Sutta Siva Turiyadidam. He has written all of them in his poetry, and I have translated all those poems and explained them. So, whoever wants to attain Turiya or Jiva Turiya, Paraturiya, Siva Turiya, and beyond that, if one wants to attain divine body and transformation of body, all the details are given here exhaustively. So, this book will give you almost everything you want to know about philosophy, yoga, and immortality. The cutting edge biologist, British biologist, Dr. Aubrey D. Gray, and technical director to Google, Dr. Ray Kurzweil, and the leading physicist, Dr. Michio Kaku, they have all agreed upon one thing, that is, the future of humankind will see immortality. And Dr. Michio Kaku says our next generation itself, immediately next generation itself will be immortals. And he says, and Dr. Ray Kurzweil has been prophesying about the immortality of the human kind for the past 20 or 30 years. He said by 2045 man will attain immortality, he said. But now scientists say even in 4 years, 2029, man could achieve immortality. So what was once considered to be a taboo, not to be talked about, a subject forbidden, That has become a reality now. All the modern scientists are working for this science of immortality. Jeff Bezos, the proprietor of Amazon, has come forward with billions of dollars. They have invested in perhaps $1 billion in Alto Labs and other labs. So the work is going on. So in 4 or 5 years, or at the maximum in 1 decade, the world will see all these things becoming reality. But Vallalar Swami said 150 years ago that this is possible, and these people are talking about half man and half bionic machines. But Vallalar Swami says this natural body can be transformed into an immortal body, and he has proved it in his own body. He has given us a complete science, and that science I have explained in a Tamil book called Vallalar Arutperunjothi Aanadi Eppadi, how Vallalar became Arutperunjothi. There are 39 steps. Whoever performs those 39 steps, 39 exercises, will become divine or Arutperunjothi. At the same, there is one more book I have already published 3 or 4 years before. Deathless light body, deathless consciousness. I have also explained all these philosophies and sciences of immortality in that book also. These 3 books will give the complete philosophy and science of immortality given by Swami Vallalar. This book is priced at 1,200 rupees Indian currency and $15 US dollars. So whoever wants to know about the philosophy of Vallalar could understand the whole philosophy of Ramalinga Vallalar by reading these 2 books. With that, I would like to conclude my introductory lecture on the philosophy of Ramalinga Vallalar. Thank you. Arutperunjothi, Arutperunjothi, Thaniperung Karunai, Arutperunjothi. எல்லா உயிர்களும் இன்புற்று வாழ்க. May all sentient beings live in bliss. வள்ளல் மலரடி வாழ்க வாழ்க. May the divine feet of Vallalar be praised.